Hey everybody, this is Troy Alexander Inspiration with Troy Alexander one more time. We are excited tonight. Y'all know my motto, dream, take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny, y'all. I'm excited about what's to come, not only for me, but for you. I'm excited about your dream, y'all. Listen, stay connected with us. I got a thumbs up from the producer. Listen, I'm excited tonight. Listen, stay connected with us. We on Instagram at Pick by Design. You know, I'm gonna take pictures. Listen, I'm on YouTube, Inspiration with Troy Alexander. We are here on Facebook Live. Stay connected with us. Oh, and follow my webpage, y'all. www.calledtoinspire.org. That's calledtoinspire.org. That's what I do. Listen, I got a quick point of purpose before I introduce our amazing guest. Listen, I said, do not devalue your dream. Imagine if Walt Disney had felt that no one would like his drawing, especially of a mouse. Listen, I'm telling you, do not devalue who you are, what you do. If it matters to you, that's more than enough. I'm telling you right now, that's where it all starts, with a dream that you can believe. And thank goodness Walt Disney didn't give up on his mouse. So tonight, do not give up on who you are and what you are destined to be and to become. Tonight, everybody, we have an amazing guest, Diana Ivelisse, if I said it right. All right, listen, she is the author of Raising a Child. Listen, the book, which is amazing, which is going to, listen, www.helpmychildactor.com. Make sure you order your book. Listen, she's the manager of her three children that is in the entertainment industry. She has assisted her son in acquiring a regular role on the TV hit series Bob Hart's Abishola on CBS. She's a talent agent working in LA in the youth department. Listen, she created the Affirm Your Star Facebook and YouTube channel to share tips and tools and resources that can aid parents in helping their child become a successful actor. Welcome, Mrs. Diana. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on our show. How are you this evening?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm telling you, listen, it's an honor to have you. Before we even go into, thank you so much, because you are so phenomenal. You are so amazing, and I'm honored tonight. I've been looking forward to this, Ms. Diana. I'm telling you, because you represent so much that so many need to see, and that is a hope, a dream, a purpose, and someone that was willing to not just have a dream, but pursue their dream. And I'm excited tonight to have you on this show. I gotta ask you, what does it feel like right now in this moment to be a talent agent, to have your three children in the entertainment industry? I mean, not just they're trying, but they're doing amazing things, and now becoming an author of your own book, of your journey. What does this moment feel like for you?
Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. It feels amazing. I never thought, that this was going to be my future. I had a totally different idea in mind, but I'm fulfilled, and I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm really happy. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm ready
Well,
to
listen,
feel emotional because I really feel good, at this moment.
wow. Listen, I can only imagine what it's like to be in the space that you are, because I remember coming from Philadelphia, right, all the way to LA. And I want to just ask a little bit about that process, because you took you took part of your family out to LA first, right, before your whole family came out. And I wanted to ask you, while you were in LA, before your whole family moved there, what were you looking for? What did you need to see to let you know that, you know what, this is going to be the right move?
So when we got here, we didn't know it was going to be a good move. We felt like it was going to be a good move, right? And we were going to make it a good move. So when everybody, when we split up and my husband and my son stayed behind, it was more so because, number one, my husband was still working, right, in Philadelphia, and that was our only consistent income. So we had to stay in Philadelphia. And the reason I didn't bring my son is because at that time I was kind of listening to some of, the negative talk and things, and people telling me, well, your son's doing so well in New York, and that's because, there's not a lot of boys in the industry, let alone, the industry is not as big as in New York. But if you bring him to LA, everybody's in LA for acting. Everybody's trying to do it. And there's so many of your sons. So, that might be like risky. And I listened to that. And I asked, my husband, just while he was there, to keep my son there just a little bit longer so that I can get my footing here, learn a little bit of the business here. And then I would bring him so that he can have a smooth transition, I guess, But what I wanted to see, honestly, I just didn't know. I didn't know. I never even been to the West Coast at that point. So I had no idea, and I was scared out of my mind. Like, I moved right from my mother's house at 19 in with my husband. So I never had lived on my own, right? And now I have to basically raise 2 kids on my own. And I've always had my husband there to help me. So it was scary. And I really don't even know. I just had faith that it was the right move. So we did it.
Mr. Diana, first of all, I'm learning something more about you that I even didn't know before the show. So you're telling me that not only had you never been to LA, but you had never lived on your own, separate from anyone else other than, and so you're telling me and all of us that you decided to travel across the entire states on the other side, on the West Coast from the East Coast, with so many new experiences.
Yeah.
But you still went.
Yeah.
What gave you the courage and the push to say that you could even do that?
Well, so there was a couple of things. So right that same summer, like, I seen things that I never thought was possible. My daughter had released her film. She sold out a theater of like 400 people in Philly. Like, this is all at this time for a 15-year-old girl. And then she was asked to show her film in St. Lucia, and she was going to get an award there. And I had never been anywhere except for like Florida. And that was because I had family take me to Florida at like 12 years old. So when I took my family on our first vacation, where do you think I took them? I took them to Florida because that's all that I knew, right? So now I'm going to St. Lucia, and not just for a family vacation, but because my daughter, 15-year-old daughter, was going to, and when I saw St. Lucia, something sparked in my head about the possibilities, about what else is out there. Like, I wanted to know, I got curious about what else was out there. And that was part of just kind of at that point where I thought maybe it was possible. And like, but honestly, I don't know, like, I just
no, and that's okay.
Out of the norm for us, out of the norm for me, to take a step like that so big.
But what I love about you, Mrs. Diana, is that your authenticity is, I don't know.
Yes.
And I say that's powerful because so many people are waiting to know before they move.
Yeah.
But you and your family are an example of, I don't know if every I is not dotted, every T is not crossed, but you still took a move. And that to me is so powerful, that so many people need to hear that I don't know, but we still win. I mean, it's an amazing journey that I'm so inspired by you, and thank you again for just being who you are, and just so amazing. I gotta ask you real quick, because there's so much I want to ask you. I've heard you say to me, like, you like being behind the scenes more so than out front. So I gotta ask you, y'all, listen. She's gonna share all of her social media and things like that, but her videos on tips for upcoming actors and parents. Listen, I'm like, she is so good. I mean, your videos are so they're funny, they're educational, they're powerful. When did you become comfortable, or have you, being in front of the camera?
When I did those YouTube videos, I was still not, I was definitely still not comfortable with being in front of the camera. I had a process, you know, nobody could be around. Nobody could be around. I had to be in my bedroom. I'm telling everybody to go downstairs. Like sometimes I would even record it when my family was like out at the pool or something like that. I had to just be here. And it was a process. I had to figure out what worked for me. My first videos that I ended up taking down and things, my husband would ask me, why was I whispering? He's like, you're in the room by yourself, you know,
Right.
why are you whispering? And it was really because I didn't even want my family to hear me like speaking. I don't know. It was just, it took time. It took time. And I guess after like maybe the third or the fourth video, it just became a little bit easier. And then when I seen that people liked the content and, you know, it gave me that confidence to just do some more. And I miss it. I'm going to definitely be doing some more soon. I just been really busy, but
Yes.
you know, that one was a little bit easier because I was in the room by myself.
Right. Well, listen, I'm telling you, I would give you an award. I don't know if it's an Academy or Emmy. I don't know what it, but your videos are truly amazing. And we're going to talk about that more. But people, yeah, you must subscribe to her channel and follow amazing tips. And so, but what inspired me more so is that you didn't go out to LA to find all of you. Like you knew your purpose. Because even I believe back in Philly, I believe you had the Affirm Your Star program, right? That was a support or some type of program that was a support to actors and arts and those in the arts, where you would help them and support them and encourage them, anybody within the arts. So you were doing some things prior to going out to LA, right?
Yes. So prior to LA, I had just started a nonprofit, excuse me, the year prior called Start and You Inc. And that, yeah, it was a nonprofit. And basically it was for underprivileged youth. And we would connect them to art related resources and opportunities in our community. So that was like my thing. And I was excited and I had my launch and I was helping so many kids and connecting them with mentors and it was amazing. And then we decided to move to LA and I'm like, I finally found like my love, my passion, and we're moving. So yeah, that was literally like the year before we moved here.
Wow. Listen, everybody, and I want to make sure that everybody's clear. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong. You went from Philly to LA in support of your children's dream.
All the way.
So it wasn't even your personal dream or your husband's personal dream. It was your children, and your daughter was 15, I think at the time, or 14. And so you changed your whole landscape of your whole life to support the dream of your children.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people even think that we moved for the acting, but like I said, Travis stayed behind. He was acting. He stayed behind with my husband. And Anaya, at that point, she wasn't acting for 2 years at that point. Well, a year and a half, I want to say. She was actually on the producing side of things. So we actually didn't just we didn't move for the acting. We moved for something even more crazier. A 15-year-old girl who had a dream of being a film director, you know, and you know, there was an opportunity that was given to her after the release of her film. There was a production company here in LA who had some interest in her and they reached out and they wanted to sign her. And then they also wanted to fly us out to meet them. And that's what kind of sparked the whole idea about everything. From there, I talked to her. I said, you know what if we should take advantage of this opportunity, first of all, because we're getting flown out. We don't have to even pay to be out there. So why don't we talk to Dad? Because at that time, my husband was disabled. He was out on disability. And I said, since Dad is home, why don't we leave the kids with him and then me and you go, and then we just stay for like a couple of weeks and we just meet some people, even shoot a project or something like that while we're out there. And she was like, yeah, that would be, you know, that would be awesome. So when I brought it to him, he was like, what? Like, you think you're going out there for like 2 weeks, a month? Cause I was like, I was pushing it. I'm like, you know what? How about like a month? We can go out there for like a month, get an Airbnb. He was like, my family, first of all, he's police officer, he's ex-military. He's like, you think no. And I'm like, and it was just so, when I say it was quiet, we were all at the table in the kitchen, family meeting. Ariel was even on my lap and we're just like, uh-oh, like this is not going to happen. And then literally within the same minute, he just had these tears come down his face. And my husband doesn't cry, right? So not, at least not in front of us too much. At that point, we probably, I don't know if I ever seen him cry. But he said, why don't you guys just go and move there? And I was like, huh? No, why don't you guys just move there? I'm like, well, how would we do that? We have our house here. We own the house. And he was like, you guys go, I'll sell the house. I'll move in with my sister and I'll pay for you guys to stay out there as long as I can. And I was like, what? And at first, the first idea was like, that is nuts. But then I thought about it and I'm like, and he was like, I told Anaya that I was going to get her to LA by the time she was 16. She's going to be 16 in like, less than 6 months. He was like, so why not do it now? And I was just like, okay.
Wait. This is all in the same conversation at the same table.
At the same,
where there was nobody talking.
We're just all sitting at the table, and this is all within the same minute. Like he literally sat there. He was like, no. He said no. And I just like, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, and then the tear came, and then it was just like, why don't you guys just move there? And I was like, I was so confused. It was very
wow. I can only imagine what that was like. But to me, it's so moving to hear that part of your journey. Like in one moment, there was a shift. Yeah. Something changed, and like that's a movie right there. Like make sure you write.
I feel like my life is a movie. I do.
Yes. Well, listen, I know the book is here, and I know the movie's coming next, so I have no doubt about that. So, but it's amazing, and I want to ask you, what was the process like of finding you, right? Because I've heard so many people say, I'm the spouse, I'm the mom, I'm the this, I'm the that, all these titles, but I even see how you've adapted even to the name. You're and I've seen you evolve so much. What has helped you to find you in all of this process? Because again, I know you said you moved out, you were thinking about your daughter, and of course your son is doing the acting, and now your other daughter is doing acting. When did Diana, when did she become somewhat of a focus?
Wow, that's a good question. That just happened. I want to say, oh my goodness, probably within the past year, I made a decision to make that happen. And it's not my family's fault or anything like that. They just always have been like the focus for me. They've always been, more important, and they still are. But, it started from oh goodness, like way back in the beginning, because I wanted to be a cosmetologist. So when I met my husband and he decided that he wanted to become a cop, I was scared about that, but I was like, okay, that's what you want to do. I'm going to support you. And then it made me kind of sad because I'm like, I always wanted to be I wanted to be a hairstylist. I wanted to do makeup and hair. And I was just like, he's going to do his thing. I'm over here working these little side jobs here and there, Dunkin' Donuts, all kinds of stuff. And, he saw it in my face. Like I was happy, but then it was like bittersweet a little bit. And he was like, well, what's going on with you? And I'm like, well, I got goals too. He's like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I want to do hair. I want to be a cosmetologist. So he was like, go. He was like, go do hair, go do makeup. I'm like, but I have to help with this and that. And he's like, you go, we're going to make it work. I'm going to support us. It's going to be fine. And I went and I did that. And then I worked for years to open up my own beauty salon, and I finally did it. And when I opened up the salon, I'm about 4 months in, and then I find out that I am 3 months pregnant. And then I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I already have my daughter, I already have my son, I have the house, I have the white picket fence, we have the dog. I'm like, another baby. Like that was not, that was the farthest from my mind. And, it really hit me hard in the beginning. And then my husband came to me, he said he wanted to join the military. And I was like, hold up. I finally opened up my beauty salon after years of working towards this. And I'm now pregnant, and you want to leave me and go to the military. And I just leave and go to the military, but you're leaving the same month I'm having the baby.
What?
So
Wow.
I had to talk to the landlord and ask her if I could close the salon because it was just impossible. I'm like, I can't do it, you know? And that was one of the biggest things, you know, that I had to let go so that I can be there for the family. And then, but it was necessary. And I know that now, I didn't know that then, but it was necessary because when he got back from the military, it actually caused him, and mind you, he had to leave the morning after I had the baby. So I had,
Wow.
he got to be with her that day, and then he left to the military the morning after from the hospital.
Wow.
So now I'm alone. My mom ends up losing her job at around the same time. So everything, I mean, it was not good, but it was good because I had my mama there with me and she stayed with me and helped me. But when he got back, it caused him to have a new partner at work. And that is what pretty much started all of this. His new partner, he was talking about the kids and he was like, you know, your kids, they have big personalities, like you should get them into like acting. And he was like, my oldest daughter actually does, you know, love to act. She's been taking classes, you know, since she was like 10 and stuff like that, but we just don't know where to take it from there. And he was like, well, we have an agent in New Jersey and we can refer you guys. And that's how it all started from there. So at that point, you know, I'm like, okay, so I'm running around with the 3 kids. Agency ends up taking all 3 of them. That's a whole nother story. But from there, I was just focused on helping them with what they were doing. Things were just rolling like this. And it didn't start slow for us. It right away, Travis booked his first audition. He booked his second, he booked his third and his fifth. And Anaya wasn't so much getting work from the agency, but I was working for her because she was the one with the initial interest, right? So I'm like, I can't leave my baby in the dust. And she had braces and she was going through puberty. So it wasn't hitting for her like it was for him. And so that's where me learning the industry started because I couldn't leave her behind. So I started to learn how to submit. I started to learn what I needed to do. And she was working regularly through that first year as well, all through me. And I realized how much I loved it. And then I started doing it for Travis and then she started producing. So I was on set with her and I was her right hand. I was her sound person. I was her everything, you know, and it just, the love for it just grew more and more. And then when parents reached out to me and told me about their horror stories of being scammed and taken advantage of, I was like, okay, let me do this. Because when I was talking to other parents, they didn't really want to share with me. It was like I was the devil. I was competition. I don't know what they thought I was, but they didn't want to share information with me. I had to find out on my own, on top of the agent was, you know, gracious enough to share with me as well.
Right.
And so, you know, then I started helping other parents and it just, you know, and then I started doing research and I'm like, oh my God, like people have so much negative things to say about kids in the industry. But if you think about just the arts in general, what the arts can do for kids, when I was doing research, I was reading studies and I'm like, I want to do this. Not so much help kids get into the industry. That wasn't really my thing back then. It was more so getting kids into the arts, because what I saw it do for my children as far as their grades, straight A's, all that stuff, you know, the way they're, you know, socially, they were doing amazing. They were more respectful. They were more, just everything was just overall better. That was like my focus. And then I started to concentrate on that so much about, you know, the kids and the family and everything that they were doing. I did feel like I started to not lose myself, but I wanted to do more. I knew there was more in me, but I didn't have the time to do it at the capacity that I wanted to do it. And for years I really did try, but something would come along that someone else needed me for. And I would put whatever I was doing, book, program, anything, right down to be there for the family. And recently I said, you know what? Naya's 19 on 20. Travis is about to be 15. Ariel can make herself sandwiches and stuff now. And my husband, he is now fully retired. So I'm like, this is my time to do what it is I always wanted to do. And that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, this is all new. You're, like I told you, you're my first live interview. This is all brand new for me. So
yes.
Yeah.
Listen, and it's not going to be your last. I'm telling you, Les Brown, move over. Because Diana, Ivelis, she's coming, y'all. I'm telling you, that last segment let you know right there, she going to be on somebody's stage, on somebody's platform, whether it's when you say Clubhouse or that house or that whatever house, she is going to be on somebody's stage. You will listen. Don't be surprised to see her name on the marquee. I'm telling you right now. I am so proud of you, Mrs. Diana. So proud of you, and from where you've come from. Oh my goodness! If people only listen, but your story needs to really be in the movie, and in the second book, and the third book, and the fourth book. But it's just amazing how the story has evolved, and the journey has evolved. And I love how you give of yourself to help other parents, right? Of actors and those in the arts and those in the entertainment industry. And you talked a little bit about it, right? About your experience was trying to learn and grow and everything. And I want to ask you, because you're so authentic, you're so real, like you don't put on an air. And that's what I love about you, is because you're so authentic. And how do parents begin to relate to you, right? Because if they've been in the industry to some degree, sometimes they're dealing with so many different things that are going on. And to me, of course, I'm outside, but it seems like folks have to put on an air or a mask, right, to sort of get to the next. But how are you able to be so real and do what you do? I mean, you got the book that's about, and you're doing the videos. Affirm Your Story on Facebook. Listen, follow her, y'all. She's amazing. But how did you get to the point where you said, you know what, I'm gonna let people know what I wish I had knew? Why is that so important for you?
It's important for me because so through this process, there's been times where we were hit with certain things. Like I don't know if you've ever saw like the billboards or heard the radio ads where they're like, if your child wants to be on Disney, like we have this event coming up. And
yes.
we did those. And I would be like, oh mom. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. And we would go to these beautiful hotels, and they would have big rooms, and they would say that, this person, that's on this show was, took this class or went to this event, and and we would do all that every single time. And I would feel so bad because I would come home and my husband and I would talk about it, and I would say, they want $5,000, they want $10,000. And, at this time, we don't have that kind of money.
Right.
So we would be charging it, we would be taking out a loan for it. So we would talk about it. And he's like, let's look it up. Let's see what these people are about. And we would do research, and we would always find out that it was a scam. Always a scam. Even if it was something where they actually were doing the things that they were doing, it hardly ever, maybe for one kid out of the hundreds of kids that came, would something actually come about, like something come about from that event. Like, so as I saw my kids progressing, and we weren't doing these events, and they were still progressing, and I realized it's not necessary to spend all this money for the kids to do what they love to do. Like, so when I would hear parents say that they actually spent the money on that or for anything else, like they would have people reach out to them and say, hey, I'll fly your kid out to LA, I'll manage them, this and this, and they would give them the money and never hear from them. And some of them were in tears. Some of them said they used their savings, and that never happened to us. It never happened to us. And because it didn't happen to us and everything was moving forward, and I had so much information up here, it just hit me. Like, I'm like, I felt like I was supposed to do this. Like God was carving the way for us so that we can be an example and help other people do the same thing, And as I started learning about how just people in general, people period, the way the world even continues to move is through contribution, people who contribute. And I felt like this was my contribution, in whatever way. And not just because of that, but because of just what media does, period. It could do some negative things, but media can also, I learned through my oldest daughter, that media can be used for positive things and change perspectives and bring change. So it was important to me to just like, I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And ever since then, I felt like everything kind of clicked in place, like a puzzle. It was like things were happening, but it was this, it was that, it was this, and then I was here. But
right.
I made that decision and I came to that realization, everything started to come together and work together. And I knew I was doing the right thing. So, yeah.
Well, listen, again, I said we are so proud of you, so in awe of you. I'm telling you, Diana, and I want to ask you, because I want everybody to buy your book, right? So, but what is one thing that you would want parents who have children that are seeking to become actors, what's one thing that you want them to know? Again, I want them to buy your book, so you're gonna read your book. But what is one key thing that you think all parents should know before they kind of take this step in their journey?
I want them to know that that it's not easy, right?
Right,
So
right, right.
it's not easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. You know, I want them to know that that they're not by themselves, that there's other parents who are out there that, can be there for them, that can help them. There's people who already done it. So the best thing that you can do is to follow the clues. Success leaves clues. You don't have to just go out and do it on your own. Study, research, just educate yourself first. Start off by just asking your child what they want. And if it's what they want, then start off with just putting them in some classes so that they can really just understand if this is what they really want to do. Because some kids love to act. Some kids want to be in drama class and they want to perform and they want to dance, but not all of them want to be on TV, So it's just
Right.
really important to make sure that the kid wants it, because there's going to be a lot of sacrifices that have to be made on the kid's part and the family's part. And, so to just make sure that it's what you want to do, it will make everything worth it. It would make everything worth it, because just knowing that and understanding where your child's passion lies, it'll drive you. So when the things are happening that, may seem a little challenging, you will have the muscles, you'll build the muscles to get through it, and you'll just have a purpose, in doing it. And you won't just be, overwhelmed and stressed. And I'm not saying those things will never happen,
Right,
but
right, right.
when you know that you have a purpose and that it's something that your child really wants. So, yeah.
Well, listen, you told me a story about a young person that was an actor, that was a lead actor on a show, and how you thought, wow, they are living the life. and and
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I think you said they were living in like a trailer type place, but and that's fine. But I guess the whole thing is you look and see people and the glitz and the glam, but there's so much involved in that journey that people don't see. And you began to talk about, Miss Diana, about the sacrifices
Yeah.
and what it takes to just kind of hold and just find a foundation in that industry. So talk to me a little bit about sacrifice, because again, I'm amazed because it's so much involved, and you're not guaranteed for the show to get renewed year after year. So you have to be doing or thinking like, I gotta be like in multiple things, right? So
Yeah.
so tell me about, because that story moved me, because you said, you thought that he was living a life and and just doing, but they weren't living the life like not as one would think.
No, I mean, yeah, they were happy,
Right,
but their
right,
family was split. They were staying at a home. They were staying in a room at a church
right.
member's home, and then they had another child that was staying in a trailer park. So the whole family was split up, to make this happen. And this is someone who is famous. They're a celebrity, and there's, they have been for years, and this is still the way that they're living. But it, and that comes from, it's not because they're not making enough money. It comes from everybody having to be separate. So they have a home to pay for somewhere else with the other family. Then they have the kid that's in college, and then they have to also have somewhere to stay. So, so that's where that comes from. But yeah, the sacrifice is real. It's real. We lived in a 3-bedroom. We owned a 3-bedroom. It was pretty much 3 floors because the basement was fully done. We had 2 full bathrooms. Kids had their own rooms. We had our, little front yard, little picket fence. We were comfortable. It wasn't, but we
Right,
were
right.
comfortable. When we moved here, well, we first came, we were staying in an Airbnb. But our first place that we got, which is crazy because once our Airbnb ended, our new place, the move-in date for the new place was the very next day. So we were able to leave from the Airbnb right into our new place. So like I said, it was clicking like a puzzle. But our new place, we were in a 1-bedroom apartment that was one floor, one box. You can literally stand in the middle of that apartment and you can see every section of the apartment, the kitchen, and we had no furniture at all. So we had to go to the Goodwill, and we got a dining room table from the Goodwill and a couple of chairs I bought off of like one of those apps, OfferUp or whatever. And I also got a futon, and we got a blow-up bed, a queen size blow-up bed. And me and the girls, that's what we had. And in the car, we had packed with us some pots and pans and things like that. So we had little things like that. We couldn't spend a lot of money because we didn't know how we were going to pay for the next month. I mean, our rent in this place was double what our mortgage was.
Wow.
So not only was it like a fourth of what our old house was,
right.
The rent was double. Then the rent was double.
Not mortgage, the rent.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, that was quite a sacrifice. And not long after, our leases were up with our car and our cars, and we had to turn in both of our cars, and we traded, we got them in, and we went from a very nice car and an SUV to one Prius. And yeah, so there was a lot of things that we had to give up. But what I told you was, and it's so true, is that was the happiest we had ever been. Like, even with all of, it was just, we felt at home, and it was just, everybody was just happy. We were just happy. And even though we were split, we were still happy. And when the boys would come visit, it was just the best. We would all be in one space trying to, squeeze up into one. And what ended up happening was, my husband ended up, we had a king size bed back in Philly that he still had. It was one of the things we kept, we didn't sell. And he ended up being able to pretty much use credit from that to turn in that bed for us to get a bed here. So now we did have like a bed, and we were all on this bed, and we're all on the futon and on blow-up beds. And, it was like a slumber party for 2 years.
Wow, 2 years?
For 2 years. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. I got to ask you, did you at any point during the first part of your journey say to yourself, did we make the right decision?
Well, there was, I would say maybe one time, and it's not that I was questioning. It was this one time where I would say some of the fear kind of settled in, and it was because my husband was injured, and at that time he was on disability, so he was out on an injury, but he was still employed. Well, he ended up his injury, he wasn't going to get better. So he ended up having to fully retire, which meant that he had to give up his income, and we had to, pretty much go through a process of getting his pension, which could take up to like a year. So that was our only income. So now we have moved to LA. We have been in LA for, gosh, I don't want to say, it hasn't even been a year yet. And now we have no income when we have rent that's double our mortgage was. So at that point I was like, oh my God, like what? And oh my goodness, God made it happen. He made it happen. I still don't, when I really think about it, I still don't understand it, but we didn't have an income for 8 months. 8 months, no income. Listen, there's a God. That's all I have to say is that there's a God. I mean, friends and family kick in, we were, I started, that's when I ended up starting the Affirm Your Star program. So that was helping. And, we had to make it happen. My husband was speaking, he had a speaking business, and he ended up getting this really big contract, to do something. So, things just kept coming together, but from one month to another, it was completely unknown. It was completely unknown. We're trying to stay present. We're trying not to think about it. But when you come home and you have eviction notices on your door, you got to hide them from the kids. They're not, we don't want them to really be exposed to any of that. Multiple times we got that notice. And here in California, it's not like in Philadelphia where, they have to go through a whole process to get you out of there. They put the letter on your door. You have 3 days to get that rent in, or you must go.
Wow.
So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah.
I'm hearing purpose. I'm hearing this is something that God ordained for your family, for somehow, because I don't know, 8 months. I can see a month, maybe 2 months, but 8 months,
8 months.
and you're
Yeah.
still there.
And we are still here. We're going on, this summer will be 4 years. Yep.
Wow. And I want to ask you about this book, because when did you conceive the idea about doing a book?
Well, when we first moved here, I started taking notes and stuff, mainly because I wanted to know, I wanted to be able to look back and see what the journey was, right? So I started taking notes. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm in a whole new, I'm here by myself. And then there was other things that came along. A month into me moving here, my mom got sick. She literally had a mental breakdown and she was completely not herself. And I had to start flying back and forth. So that's another part of the story. You know, we just moved here a month or two, and I'm now having to fly back and forth because I have to help her get into mental health facilities. I have to take care of her financials. I have to, clean up her house because, and I just started taking down notes. And I said, you know what? When that happened, I said, I'm going to write a book. And it was more so because of, what was happening just with everything else, more so than what was happening with, the kids in their career. But then as I started to do that, I don't know, it just started to come together. And I never was able to finish it. I never, even got a chapter done. It was just it was different notes. So then I want to say during the end of 2019, I finally made the decision that I was going to do this. I'm like, I'm going to get this book out of me. It's there, all the information here. I had did the From Your Start program, and I'm like, I gotta do this book. So I reached out to someone who was going to help me. She was going to help me ghostwrite it. So we sat there and we had like a few sessions, and it wasn't happening as fast as I wanted it to happen. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to do this myself. I think I could do this myself. Once I started writing things for her, I'm like, I could do this. So I said, I thanked her. I paid her for her time, but I said, I think I'm going to do this myself. And I tried doing it for that whole year of 2020. And it just wasn't happening because I was on set with Travis. There was so much happening. I was helping Anaya with things. Then COVID happened. Everybody was home all the time. And I'm just like, okay, is this going to happen? And I just decided to ask my husband for some help. I said, you know what? And this was literally December of 2020. I was like, I really want to write this book. Can we do the same thing that we did for the From Your Start program? Because when I did the online program, he helped me for like 1 month where he did, he did things in the house. He took care of everything so that I can just focus on finishing this program. And I was like, can we do that again? But can we do it for like 3 months this time? And he was like, what? And I'm like, this time, like, I can't really be involved. Like last time I still, I was still doing some things. Like, I need you to be mom and dad for like 3 months. And he said, yeah, he said yes, because he's an author too. So he knew how important it was. And he was like, yeah. And when I say that I've never saw my husband, like my husband, the things that he's been doing, like it's hilarious. But now it's like he's used to it. So now that I'm back and I'm like, listen, I'm done now. I can do this. He's like, oh, just go sit down. I'll bring you your meals. And he's gonna bring me my food to the table as I'm on the computer. And I'm like, and he's just, but yeah, it's just, I really just sat down for 3 months straight now. When I say straight, I mean straight to the point where even my husband was taking Travis to set for me. He was taking Travis to set for me so that I can have that time to finish it. And I finally just got it all out of me. And woo.
Yes.
Listen, you have a few books. So I know you have books of your own. So you understand, like, I give props to you guys. I give props to you guys because it is hard work. It is hard work when you want to do it right, when you want to make sure that all the information is in there. It is work, but I enjoyed it. I can say I did enjoy it, and I am so happy that it's done. Like, it was definitely worth it. So yeah.
Yes, and we are going to promote it even more and more and more because we're so proud of you. And what I love is because you're telling your truth, your journey. You want parents to know, to get it, to understand, right? And they don't have to pay $10,000 to learn it, right? They can go and read your book. They can follow your Facebook page, your YouTube channels, and learn and contact you as well, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you can have,
I'm accessible. Yeah, definitely. You
yes,
can DM me. You can inbox me on Facebook. Like I will answer. Anybody will tell you, I will answer. Mhm.
yes. So how can they reach you again? DM you on Facebook, Instagram. How, how can
Yeah,
they find you?
yeah. They can inbox me on Instagram, Facebook. They can email me, helpmychildactor@gmail.com. I will answer. I'm definitely accessible. That's one thing that I just, I know there's going to be times where I'm going to be really busy and my time will be reduced, but I always want to make sure that I can be there for parents. I'm always going to make myself, available so that I do, I will respond and I will help. Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, if you have a child that's upcoming that in acting entertainment, make sure you contact this amazing young lady, because I'm telling you, she will tell you the truth. She will tell you her experience. She will tell you the do's and don'ts. I'm telling you, we're so proud of you. Is there anything now that either from your past or even from your future that you can foresee? Is there anything that you have any concern? And I don't like the word fear, but I don't like to ignore it, right? Because so many people have or are experiencing it to the point where they don't want to move forward because they're afraid. Is there anything that you fear at this point?
That, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I literally and I'm going to say, and this is probably actually part of the reason why I was able to even move out here, which I didn't think about it before, was 4 years ago, I started self-development. So I started reading books. I started watching videos. I started eating better. We stopped eating meat 4 years ago. And I started to like exercise and do things like that. And that ended up opening my mind a lot more. My mind is a lot more clear. But I can say that I had struggled with fear here and there, even though I had faith and I knew that it was okay. I did sometimes it would kind of creep in, right? And I didn't
Right.
realize until so there was one point in time where I said to God, I said, you know what? Because there was something that was just, I don't even remember what it was. I just remember I was like, Lord, your will is the way. Your will is the way. I'm just gonna give it all to you and I'm gonna let it go. And I just felt so much better. And everything started, I was able to now not just be worried, but now my mind was clear enough for me to take some action and find a solution to whatever that problem was. I can't even tell you what it was, but it was something and I did it and it just all worked out. And from there, that's what I say. I'm like, God, it was the way. I give it to you. I meditate, I pray. I now recently started taking like really, intense classes for me to work on my confidence, for me to stop this worry, for me to be. So I can't even say that I don't worry and that I don't fear things. I can say that I am a lot better and I'm working on it every day and it gets better every day. But one thing I talk about in the book a lot, what I begin the book with is your mind. Your mindset is so important for you to work on that while you're going through this process, even to start it before you start the process, because you have to be there for your children. There are going to be some things that you face. They're going to be, it's going to be, it's not going to be, the road is not going to be smooth the whole time. And for you to be able to deal with it, find solutions, and then also keep your child out of that, because the child should just be focusing on having a good time. They should just be having fun and just being a kid and doing what they love. They shouldn't have to be stressing about, your financial problems or what someone said or, any of that. So if there's something that you're dealing with, something with your past, something with your present that you're dealing with, if you're someone who has anxiety and all that stuff, you should probably work on that. Not probably, excuse me, you should definitely work on that, because you're going to need that mental muscle in order to navigate this industry for sure. So, and that's something I'm still working on. I'm always going to be working on it,
Right,
So yeah.
right. Well, listen, I can't say enough about you, Mrs. Diana. And I don't know what it is about your children, but they have seemed to pave a way, and where it's allowed even the connection of even us, your family and myself. And I'm just grateful for this wonderful opportunity to share with you, and you to share with me, and just to know you and know your amazing family. And again, I'm so proud of you. What is next for you? Is there something else on your vision board that you can share? Don't say that you can, but it's just something that you want to do that you haven't done just yet.
Yeah, I want to travel. I want to travel to different major, like not even just the major film markets, the smaller ones too, but I want to travel nationally, excuse me, and have seminars for parents. There's a lot of showcases that happen where the parents, they spend all this money flying their kids, staying in places like LA for, weeks at a time for these showcases, and spending just so much money, and what always happens is that when they leave, they still don't even know what to do. They don't even know the next step, because the focus when you go to these showcases is the kid to be showcased. And, they make you a lot of promises and stuff, but they don't have educational classes for the parents, for them to understand, okay, once you leave here, this is what you should do. This is how things work. This is the 1, 2, 3. And I feel like it's necessary. And I actually have a friend that's going to be doing it as well. So she asked me to be a keynote speaker for when they do these events around the country. So yes, I'm super excited for that, because it's something that I wanted to do. So now I have, my first opportunity to be able to do that. So yeah, and I want to start doing webinars, online for parents and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to do my first one on the 10th. And that's for everyone who purchases the book, because the book originally was supposed to be fully like live yesterday. But yesterday is when I actually finished the book. So the pre-sale is still going for the next few days, until, because there's a process with like Amazon, they have to look at it and stuff. But the pre-sale is available. So for anyone who purchases the book during the pre-sale, they get to come to this free Zoom, and I'm going to basically take them through the steps of how to get their kids started. Yeah, and answer any questions that they have. So.
Well, I got my book, y'all. I got my pre-sale book. I mean, I placed my order, y'all. I'm telling you. How much is the book?
The physical book is $29.99 right now, but it comes with a journal, and I call it the SPCA journal. So it's this, it's a journal for the supportive parents of child actors. Excuse me, I blinked out for 1 second. But it's the SPCA journal, and basically the journal has a bunch of trackers that I created, because throughout this whole process of, supporting my kids in the industry, things with 3 kids can get quite like, crazy. So I had to create like Excel worksheets and all kinds of things to kind of keep track of everything. And I still have that stuff. And I said, you know what, that really helped me along the way. I was like, I'm going to create this, put this into a journal so that other parents have it. So you get that journal for free with the book, and it's free shipping, everything right now. And then of course the pre-sale is also on Amazon for the ebook. So, but yeah, and on Amazon it's $19.99. So for the ebook.
Wow. Well, listen, you can get it at www.helpmychildactor.com.
Yep.
That's www.helpmychildactor.com. Listen, if you want a book and you say, I don't have the money, I know it's $29.99, but you can, I will buy a book for you. I will help a parent. So listen, so make sure you contact either myself or Mr. Head, and I'll listen. One book now, but I will make sure that I will help somebody else, because this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. And again, I'm hearing you talk about going on tour. First of all, you're like, well, I don't like to be in front of the camera. Listen, I said you were going on tour, and then before the show's over, you're telling me you're going on tour.
Yeah, this just happened. This just happened. Yeah.
Well, listen, all I can say is get ready for some more stuff to happen, because you have not only a gift, but you have a purpose, and your light is going to help so many other parents see something that they can't see right now, or haven't been able to see. So I'm so thankful for you being willing to face whatever you want to call it. Some people say your fear or your nerves or whatever, but keep going. Keep going. I thank you so much. And listen, what what do you say to a parent or even a child, just anybody now that had a dream, but don't quite have it in them to take that step? What would you say to them to encourage them to just say, you know what, take that step?
Oh my God. It's just, I know it sounds a little cliche, but honestly, anything is possible. Anything is possible. It really just, it starts with you just believing that it will be, believing that it'll work, and just doing the work, putting in the work. You know, a lot of us, we just, pray for the things we want, but you have to put in the work as well for it to actually happen. Like, it, I just, this is something that I realized recently, is that everything that you need, and I actually just put a post on National Women's Day, that everything that you need is right inside of you already. Like, it's already there. It's already there. And I didn't know that. I was always waiting for the perfect moment to do anything, always waiting for that perfect moment to just make the decision. But you have to make the decision first. You have to make the decision first. And that's something that my husband taught me. And now that I've made the decision, it's just all coming together. It's all coming together. So just make that decision, and just have that faith, and then just do the work. And it literally, it's like a recipe for like success. It really is. So yeah.
Well, I want to applaud you because you are so inspiring. I'm so proud of you, more than words could ever say. I'm so proud to see you go forth in you, as you, to support others, and you give up so much. I want to ask you this, and we're just about done, but how do you maintain your energy, your positivity, right? In an industry that sometimes is not always positive, right? Kids face rejection, right? Parents have to deal with that. They don't always get the part, right? They work so hard, they study, they learn the lines, and they go through the whole process, get down to the last two or the last five or whatever, and don't get picked. How do you how have you found to balance you and to balance your family and what they have to experience? Because every part you're not going to get, right? So how have you learned to have that balance, and what keeps you motivated, positive, and strong?
Yeah. So there was a book that I read, and I read it when everything happened with my mom, when I was going through that whole period. And there was a quote in the book, and I don't know the exact quote, but it basically said something along the lines of, if you are living in the past, then you are depressed. If you are living in the future, then you are anxious. And if you live in the present, then you're at peace. And I listened to that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a light bulb went out, because that's exactly when I used to suffer from depression. It was always about my past, about what had happened to me, what I had faced, as a child and things like that. And I had always suffered from anxiety. So, I was always thinking about the future. What if this doesn't work? What if this happens? And it would literally, I've been rushed to the hospital with chest pain, thinking I was having a heart attack. And they would just say, you have anxiety. It's an anxiety attack. And I'm like, no, but my heart, no, EKGs, everything. And I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. Like, my anxiety was that bad. And when I started to live in the present and really get in a state of being grateful, just grateful. It doesn't even matter. Even if everything is not going the way I want it to right now, there's so many things to be grateful for right now in this moment. The fact that I have my children and they're healthy, and I'm living in LA, and, I have a husband that loves me, and, I have, it's just so many things that you can find in this moment to be grateful for. And when I would do that, I would literally look out the window, and I would just look at the world and just really take in the beauty of the world, and the fact that I'm breathing. Like, I am breathing, I'm alive, and everything that's happening within me is working together, and it's miraculous. It's amazing. Like, we have life. And when I started living in those kind of moments, and I do it still, because even when I still get in that, I have to literally stop myself, like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? And I literally just, especially when I meditate, that's like one of the things that I just try to feel the love for my family and the love for my friends, and just the love that I have for God, and just telling God, thank you, and just really imagining everything I have now and what I want in the future. And just, And it just really just helps me a lot. And I feel good automatically. And then I'm just pumped and I'm ready for the next thing. And, so yeah, that's what works for me. So.
Yeah. I want to shout now, Mrs. Diana. I want to shout. I'm like, yeah, oh my, that was so powerful. That was so moving. And I can't wait to watch this back. I am sure people who are going to watch this now, watch it back. You have given us some powerful words, some powerful life experiences, some powerful moments that are helping so many move forward from the place where they are. And I love that. Live in your presence. Live in and be at peace. Be at peace where you are, knowing that there's more even to come. I can tell you right now, Mrs. Diana, there is so much that you don't even see that's coming your way. Doors that you haven't even knocked on that's going to open because people are seeing you, they're hearing you, and they're going to want you to be a part of their journey. And so I thank you so much for sharing you with the world, with us on this broadcast. Is there more that I haven't talked about or asked you about that you want to share? Again, the website, again, www.helpmychildactor.com. It'll be in the heading of the broadcast. We're going to make sure we promote it and do all that we can because I know that this is at your heart. And I know that you want parents and child actors and those in the entertainment industry to know your truth and to have that experience so that they don't have to navigate so much on their own as you had to. But thank you so much for giving. Is there more that you want to share with us that I haven't asked you at this time?
Well, I want to say, number one, thank you. Thank you for being my first live interview. Thank you for all the advice that you've ever given me, for being there. There's been times you've listened to me, and I just really appreciate you, and you're amazing. And I'm proud of you because I've been following your journey over the past, 4 years, 5 years or so. And it's really incredible what you're doing. So thank you for what you do for everyone. And yeah, today is Monday. So that means Bob Hart Abishola is coming on. And that is the show that my son is on. He's a series regular, and this show comes on CBS at 8:30 on Mondays, and that's on the East Coast and the West Coast. I'm not sure. I don't think he's on tonight's episode per se, but if he's not, check out the last two because they were all about him. And make sure that you watch and you support because the show is hilarious. You're going to love it, and it's going to be one of your favorites. I promise. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Diana. I thank you so much. Just for giving of your time and just sharing you with us and with the world. We are honored tonight. Thank you so much. Again, I so appreciate you. Appreciate your husband, your children. Again, Anaya, Sky, Travis Jr., and again, just wonderful. Thank you so much. And of course, your husband, Travis Sr., again, my brother, I thank him. I thank you so much. This will not be the last time. Listen, this was your first interview. All I'm saying is she's coming back, y'all. I'm telling you. When she goes on that world tour, you're going to see webinars, you're going to see stage production, might be a movie coming out. Listen, I'm telling you, get ready because she's coming back. So thank you so much, Miss Diana. Any last words you want to share?
No, just get Raising a Child Star. It's available right now, helpmychildactor.com. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, the book is Raising a Child Star. You can pre-order it now, I believe, at www.helpmychildactor.com. Helpmychildactor.com. Thank you so much, Ms. Diana. I appreciate you. Everybody, this is Inspiration with Troy Alexander. Thank you so much again for joining us. We always come on every week to inspire you to never give up on your dream. And you know my motto, dream, take that step and walk with purpose into your destiny. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Oh, guess what? We'll see you Saturday. Come and join our special broadcast this coming Saturday. We have an amazing young lady from Germany. Listen, it's a 6-hour difference. So we're doing it on Saturday. It's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but it'll be 8 o'clock in Germany. So come on this Saturday at 2 p.m. and meet this amazing young lady who is a classical pianist. She's a poet. I'm telling you, you will be inspired. And guess what? She's from Jersey, but she went out to Germany. Thank you again so much. Be encouraged. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you Saturday. Thank you, Mrs. Diana, so much. Have a great night.
Bye.